If you don't like it, then get the hell out. That's what they yell when I open my mouth. A stick is a stick, a stone is a stone. Who's gonna care if I don't? Who's gonna change if I won't? side that I choose to be on? Will we sit in our hands doing nothing about it? Or will we leave this world better than we found it?
Rise in body and spirit for our next hymn, 1064, and our teal hymnals, Blue Boat Home. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling oceans, that my mind and heart can stay. I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Sun I sail and moon I rudder, as I fly the starry sea, leaning over the edge and wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, going in the pilgrim soul, taking away by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great rain surging beyond, read the infinite sea before me, sing the sound my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue. Beautiful. Please remain standing and join in the words of our covenant found on our screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. Let this be our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. You are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. I am Michael Leuchtenberger, and I get to serve as the settled minister of this caring, this curious, and ever-evolving congregation. It is good to be here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
Please be seated. Welcome to worship. It is so good to be with you this morning in person and online. My name is Dory LeCount, and I serve as the Family Engagement Coordinator of this musing-loving and children-embracing congregation. We are here to support each other on our own and our shared spiritual journeys, centered in love, compassion, curiosity, courage, and joy. I'm especially happy to welcome first-time and returning visitors. If you are a visitor, we hope that you will find us a community eager to welcome you and respectful of the path which has brought you here today. Anyone wearing a colorful stole is glad to answer any questions that you may have. There is written info in the pew folders and at the visitors table for you to take. For our online participants, it would be wonderful if you introduced yourselves in the chat so that we know you are here with us. Our church buildings are located on the traditional homelands of the Pennacook Abenaki people, past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and the people who have stewarded it for generations.
For a complete listing of church events and news, check out our weekly e-bulletin or copy of Parish Notes, our monthly newsletter. Here are a few highlights. Our offering right after the service include a social time and a newcomer corner in Fellowship Hall. And then at 11:45, you're invited to join the Grounds and Forestry Visionary Plan Engagement Session with the Ecological Land Management Steering Committee in the parlor and on Zoom. You will hear more from them in the rest of the service. Kids ages 5 and up are encouraged to join our Young Explorers program, and younger kids are always welcome to stay in our Rainbow Room nursery. Where will you worship is not so much happening today, right? In that sense, okay, I think most parents have already been notified about that. Monday, you can do Yu Yoga if you'd like at 6:30 in our chapel. Tuesday, all are welcome to our welcome table dinner at 6 o'clock. Weekly happening, and thank you so much, Pam Moscow and Ashley Young and all the Family Promise volunteers for hosting a family who would otherwise have been unhoused this week. So give yourselves a hand, whoever you are. Thank you. It truly takes a village to make this happen. Over 45 volunteers to bring meals, to be overnight hosts, to welcome people as they arrive and all that, and put away the cots and all that. Our plant and yard sale is happening on Saturday, May 16th, so not this Saturday, the Saturday afternoon. After that, donations begin all week starting next Sunday, May 10th. The yard sale items can go into the Ken Thomas room during the church business hours, and plant donations go into our courtyard near the brick wall there. Bob Gabrielli will be selling his bread again this year, yay! And so this event's getting bigger and better every year. Please see Jim Downey, can you wave over there? Or Betsy Kennedy over there for details on how you can participate in addition to bringing your gently used items to church here. Huge gratitude also to our grounds group, all 17 of you who ended up cleaning up our grounds last Sunday, while I was frolicking with our youth group and 9 other adults in Alabama, Montgomery, which was a wonderful experience that we will share more about on May 17th. If you're at all curious, our youth group will tell about their various experiences. Enough said. Each week, we light our chalice to set this time apart and to mark it as sacred. If you're at home and you have a candle or chalice ready, I invite you to light it now as Annalise lights our chalice here in the sanctuary.
Show to us beauty, vision,
Please repeat after me. It is a blessing to be. It is a blessing to be here.
It's a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
Welcome all to today's service, in which members of the Ecological Land Management, or ELM, Steering Committee will share some readings and thoughts and experiences about curiosity, spirituality, and the natural world. We hope to inspire you to reflect on your own connection with nature and how that fits in to your own spiritual path. We also hope we will motivate you to stay for today's second hour, focused on Grounds and Forest Visionary Plan and discussion of how our individual and collective spiritual foundation may help further develop the goals for managing the 18 acres we steward. If you are unable to join us today, we will also host a Zoom-only session for additional congregational input on Thursday, May 14th at 7 p.m. To me, the link between curiosity and spirituality is the characteristic of openness. Curiosity is essential to science and all that humans have learned over millennia, and is the basis of all the questions we still have to explore. When I am truly curious, I ask questions and observe without judgment. I am in a learning mindset. For me, spiritual experiences in nature happen when I am open and present to what is, and able to feel the awe and wonder of being a part of a larger whole. A few examples. I subscribe to a blog called Naturally Curious by Vermont-based naturalist Mary Holland. A recent post was about skunk cabbage, which is able to flower early in the spring due to thermogenesis. Because of its abundance of calcium oxalate crystals, it is considered inedible. However, the photo she posted showed partially consumed leaves, eaten, she speculated, by creatures which are either unaffected by the crystals or are simply hungry enough to tolerate them, and she mentioned black bear, snapping turtles, muskrat, or Canada geese as possible feasters. A commenter posted with photographic evidence that wild turkeys could also be the culprit. So this poses some questions. Do wild turkeys not experience that burning sensation during ingestion? Or do they have a dietary need for fresh, bitter greens in the spring? Or have they run out of the carb-rich mast foods like acorns that sustain them over the course of the winter? Another example, I was walking over to the pollinator garden monarch waste station, as seen in the photo, that I've been tending for 4 years at Rollins Park on a recent evening. I was feeling frustrated by all the yard waste bags I saw at the curb, thinking of how those leaves break down into humus when left under the trees or shrubs or in a pile in the corner of a yard, thereby improving the soil quality while sheltering insect life. When I arrived at the park and looked around the beds, I noticed something new and instantly started raging. I was indignant. How could someone have planted tulip bulbs here? Didn't they know it was a native plant pollinator garden to benefit the native bees and moths and butterflies? I was furious. How could someone have done this? And as I was nearly ready to rip the bulbs out of the ground with my bare hands, perhaps because it was the end of Spirit Week, from somewhere within, a small voice whispered, "Get curious, not furious." I took a breath and paused. This tulip planting was not an act of malice. It was an act of care and consideration. The tulips are situated so the blooms will be viewed from the monarch butterfly bench in the spring before the native plants flower. A flash of vibrancy and beauty. How would anyone know that this garden was only for natives? I either need to not be a purist about it, or I need to provide information and education until I decide I will appreciate the tulip planting as an act of kindness. Whereas experiences of curiosity entail questioning and openness to what is returned to that question, my spiritual experiences have occurred when I am still and listening, receptive to what is, not questioning, just being. A few examples. As a preteen, lying under the stars on Bailey Island in Maine, the sound of the surf pounding, the smell of the salt air, the magnificent universe stretched out above me. As a young adult, lying in a sloped meadow, watching the wondrous light show of a field full of fireflies. And in May 2024, when Andy, Natalie, and I went for a leisurely evening canoe paddle on Lake Winnipocket, it was cloudy and rather dreary when we started out, but then began to clear. There was no other human presence out on the water. It was calm and quiet. We paddled slowly and silently. First, we spotted a bald eagle on a snag in the lake and watched it fly off majestically to roost on a towering white pine over the granite boulders lining the lake. Then the loons popped up near our canoe, close enough to see their beautiful black and white jeweled pattern and garnet red eyes. Coyotes yipped and howled in the distance. A raven called, then a barred owl. As we turned our canoe, sunset colors painted the sky to the west over Mount Kawasiwazo, the Abenaki name for Mount Kearsarge, and the night chorus of gray tree, pickerel, green, and bullfrogs greeted us on our return to shore. I'm going to close with a quotation from Vermont ecological forester Ethan Tepper's 2024 book, How to Love a Forest, The Bittersweet Work of Tending a Changing World. He writes, "A beautiful forest grows on the hillside of this world. It is a forest of justice and equity, biodiversity and ecological integrity. A world that honors both the intrinsic value of this biosphere and the intrinsic value of its people. Like the oaks and the sugar maples on the hillside, the pieces of this forest are already here, waiting to be discovered. This forest will not be unearthed through inaction or subjugation, through stubbornness or complacency, only through relationship and responsibility, humility and courage, pragmatism and change. We already have the power to make this forest a reality. We just need to choose to do so."
Thank you so much, Laurel. Please rise in body of spirit for next hymn number 1052 in our teal hymnals, The Oneness of Everything.
Far beyond the grasp of hands, a light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. They'll find the key to nature's harmony, hidden architecture so entirely.
Please be seated. Unless, of course, you're young in age or young in heart, come on forward for a time for all ages with Dory. Come on forward.
Good morning. Hold on. Microphone is stuck. This morning, we're all talking about nature. And Laurel is letting us borrow this beautiful book called Growing Wild. And this book is about what happens when we let our yards return to nature. I have a question for you all before we read this book. I want to know if any of you would like to share one of your favorite places to be in nature. Does anyone have somewhere they like to be outside? Here, I'm going to turn this mic on. And then Emily, will you tell us where you like to be outside?
Underneath a tree.
Oh. Anyone else want to share? Everett.
I like to be under the tree.
Under the tree, too. Here, do you want to share?
Under a tree.
Wow. Lots of tree lovers.
When I look out my back window, it's Rollins Park, and I love walking out my backyard into Rollins Park.
Would anyone else up here like to share? You have another one? Oh, okay. Do you have another one? Okay, last one.
Wandering around under trees.
Wandering around under the trees. I'm going to read the book now, and then if you still have another one to share after. I see it. This book is called Growing Wild, Inviting Wildlife into Your Yard. And so think about your yards and in maybe the areas at the parks and the places around the trees where you like to spend time. Think about what you see when you're there. Once upon a time, not really long ago, in a land far away, not so far actually, maybe your own neighborhood or mine, there was a perfect lawn. Ooh, I gotta turn it this way. Not just one perfect lawn, but many. Together, these squares of bright green grass marched across the neighborhood. All of the lawns were proud to be perfect. But they were also very, very lonely. They could remember a time before the fences and the streets when there was a different kind of green. Trees and wildflowers and long free grasses waved with the wind to greet animals high and low. Then everything changed. People began to saw down trees and build tall fences. When the wild grasses were cut, most of the animals left to find other homes. But sometimes, even then, a robin visited to look for worms. She was a welcome sight, a bright spot of color on the perfectly green grass. She never stayed long, though. Without trees, she had nowhere to build a nest. And without berries or insects, she had nothing to feed her young. And when she left, the perfect lawn seemed lonelier than ever. One day, just a few years ago, a small house in the middle of a large perfect lawn was put up for sale. The people in the house moved and took their lawnmower, their grass trimmers, and all the sprays that they used to kill bugs and weeds. At first, there was nothing but an empty house and a big, empty yard. But an amazing thing happened. The big, empty lawn didn't stay empty for long. At first, the grass started to grow. It got taller and taller and soon went to seed. In a short time, other plants grew too. The neighbors called them weeds. But we all know that a weed is just a plant people don't want in their perfect lawns. Suddenly, the lawn was no longer perfect, but it wasn't lonely anymore either. Along with the tall, seedy grass and the colorful new plants came visitors, lots of them. Birds flew from far and wide to feast on seeds. Bright flowers welcomed honeybees, and butterflies flitted across the yard. Perfect lawns all around looked on in wonder. By the end of the summer, the wild yard with its empty house was sold. "At last," said the neighbors. "Now someone will mow that awful lawn." But what would happen to the yard? Was it designed to be perfect and lonely again? No, the yard was in luck. The people who moved into the little house loved the creatures who kept the tall grass company. The people also knew they could make the yard even better. It would be a perfect garden for all of their new friends. First, they planted trees. Some would keep their leaves all year, and others would be bare in the winter. But they would provide food and shelter for garden animals and shade for the people. Next, down came the fence, and up went a long hedge, bushy branches full of berries, color in the winter, and plenty of treats for the birds. Parts of the garden grow wild, other areas are mowed close. Now the robin has a place to stay as long as she wants. The garden has become a home for animals throughout the year. During the summer, flowers attract hummingbirds, and the bird bath is always full, and the garden splashes with cheerful activity. Crisp days and dewy spiderwebs are sure signs of fall, and birds as bright as autumn leaves arrive in the garden. Some stop for a short visit as they fly south, and others stay as the days shorten and the air chills. In the years past, winter was an especially hard time and lonely time in the yard. Nothing seemed alive, everything looked flat and cold. But now, the garden bustled, with birds and the feeders and squirrels on the snow, and even the frost seemed to sparkle with life. Ever so slowly, the sun grows stronger. The birds build nests and sing to announce the coming of spring. Buds and flowers and fresh green leaves bring color to the new season. These are warm and happy days in the garden. And what, you might wonder, became of all the other lawns in the neighborhood? Well, nature has a wonderful way of taking care of friends. Birds spread seeds, squirrels bury nuts. Soon flowers sprout and trees take root everywhere. There is no longer a perfect lawn in sight, and the neighbors don't know what to do. They have come to like the new people on the block and even to admire their colorful garden. And in the end, the yards are the ones to make the decision. Tired of being perfect, they don't want to be lonely anymore. So the neighborhood grows wild too. No longer a block of perfectly square lawns, it has become one big garden, a perfect place to live happily ever after. Yay! Thank you all for reading and allowing your gardens to grow.
All right, if you're seated up here, please rise, and the rest of us, please join in our children's blessing with the movements. We now turn to the joys and the sorrows we carry individually and as a community. Will you take a breath with me? As we surrender to this moment, let us notice our body resting, grounded, supported by the earth. And as the piano begins to play, you're invited to come forward, light a candle, or place a stone at the table to your right, or add a note to our holding our grief wheel. And if you wish, come to the microphone and tell us your name and share briefly from your heart so the congregation can hold you in love.
Susan Kerber is my name, and I'm standing here for my whole family, including Ken, who has been treating kidney failure for almost a year, and we've got not the best news that it's going to continue more seriously. I ask that you carry this journey with us. It's a long one, and it's tough, but we have lots of family and lots of love. Thank you.
I'm Linda Williams. I have a huge joy. My son had some very scary tests to rule out cancer, and they didn't find any.
Hi, my name is Ann Zinkin. I went to a celebration of life yesterday for one of my very dear friends, and I wanted to say her name out loud because I adored her. Her name is Alice Briggs.
My name's Betsy Kay. I have a great sorrow that has great uncertainty with it. I'm sure there are many people who have sorrows, but I want you to know that we'll always have laughter too. Today is World Laughter Day, so find some laughter.
Hi, I'm Heidi. I just want to say my joy is that it's halfway till Halloween.
Now I invite Judy to light one more candle on behalf of those who are not with us today or who chose to remain seated. Whether your joys or sorrows have been named or remain in the silence of your heart, know that you are not alone. May we hold our earth in our hearts with joy in her nature, in awe of her majesty, power, and resilience, taking responsibility for the hurts that we have caused her. Will you take another breath with me? Please join me now in our musical meditation, May the Beauty, a musical prayer. May the beauty around us inspire our song in light and in darkness. Inspire our song in light and in darkness. Inspire inspire our song in light and in darkness. Inspire. One more time on the same lyrics. May the beauty around us inspire our song in light and in darkness. Inspire our song in light and in darkness. Inspire our song. May that be so, and amen.
The Elm online survey indicated that a lot of you had connections in our property that were spiritual or would like to see more, and thus these readings. How I Go to the Wood by Mary Oliver. Ordinarily, I go to the woods alone, and not with a single friend, for they're all smilers and talkers, and therefore unsuitable. I don't really want to be witnessed talking to the catbirds or hugging the old black oak tree. I have my own way of praying, as you no doubt have too. Besides, when I am alone, I can become invisible. I can sit on the top of a dune as motionless as an uprise of weeds, until the foxes run by unconcerned. I can hear the almost unhearable sound of roses singing. If you've ever gone into the woods with me, I must love you very much. And Charlotte Erickson says, go outside. Don't tell anyone and don't bring your phone. Start walking and keep walking until you no longer know the road like the palm of your hand, because we walk the same roads day in and day out to the bus and back home. And we cease to see. We walk in our sleep and teach our muscles to work without thinking. And I dare you to walk where you have not yet walked. And I dare you to notice. Don't try to get anything out of it, because you won't. Don't try to make use of it, because you can't. And that's the point. Just walk, see, sit down if you like, and be. Just be whatever you are with whatever you have, and realize that that is enough to be happy. There's a whole world out there right outside your window. You'd be a fool to miss it. Michael Glazer's Blessing of the Woods. Before I leave, almost without noticing, before I cross the road and head toward what I have intentionally postponed, let me stop to say a blessing for these woods, for crows barking, for squirrels scampering, for trees and fungus and multicolored leaves, for the way sunlight laces with shadows through each leaf and branch of a tree, for these paths that take me in, for these paths that lead me out.
waters rising. This I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. There are more waters rising, may they find their way to me. There are more waters rising, this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know.
Is that good? Okay. I am Dana Sansom, and I am part of the Elm Group, which I'm proud to be a part of. My topic is the evolution of environmental awareness. Where does environmental awareness come from? It starts with appreciation of the land, the trees, the water, the air, the animals, and the insects. It comes from natural curiosity. It also comes from family values, exposure to nature, education, and an evolving understanding of the pieces of a whole. How all life is interconnected. It comes from a feeling of being part of that connection, physically and spiritually. It comes from the actions of people who understand this, who see when this connection is broken, and who work tirelessly to fix it. Indigenous people in America did and do understand the connections. Robin Wall Zimmer is an example. People who have the ability to see the future of our country if it stays on the path of imbalance are important, such as conservationists like Aldo Leopold, Theodore Roosevelt, John Muir, Rachel Carson, and many others. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have national parks. We wouldn't have conservation land, species protection, air we can breathe, water we can drink, soil we can grow food in. And now we have climate change activists, young people like Greta Thunberg, who started school strike protests in Sweden, and they went all over the world. Douglas Tallamy, the Nature Conservancy Organization, Robin Wall Zimmer, and so many others. So why don't people listen? Why don't they process? Why don't they act? Many people don't think of the natural world as something humans are a part of, to be understood, to be taken care of, protected and loved and thanked for the blessing it gives us. Aldo Leopold, a famous conservationist who wrote the Sand Country Almanac, said, "We abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect." An example I give is where I lived before in Havenwood in Epsom, a 24-unit place with over 55. The owner didn't respect women and was intimidated by their knowledge. He planted Christmas trees 3 times, and most of them died, even though I told them why, and gave him a handout on how to plant Christmas trees. He was blocked. He didn't want to hear me. I had a compost bin when I lived there, and people would put compost into it. And there was a community garden. I asked the residents when I was living if they would, the ones that used the garden, if they would like my compost bin, and they would like the beautiful compost that came from that to put in their gardens. They said no. They used Miracle Grow fertilizer, had always used it, and that was that. It was time for me to go. Environmental awareness came to me in many ways when I grew up. My father loved nature, and he taught us to cherish it, to become curious, to ask questions. We took long walks in the woods on Sundays and learned about the plants and the animals, hopped on tree cookies in the Mianus River Gorge, played poo sticks on a bridge. To me, the woods are where I found peace. Except for my dad, no one in my family really understood me. The woods, the marshes, the swamps, the ocean, the lakes, fields were my refuge when I was young and throughout my life. There is a spot on the Suncook River that I go in my mind when I need to and in my body when I can. There is a mile-long path down to the river. There's no invasive plants. It's all natural. It's a conservation land. I'd go with my dog Tucker, and when we got to the river, there was a tree branch that hung over the water. I'd sit on it and breathe or draw, and Tucker would fish. An intense but not usually successful fisherman. The moving water made a gurgling sound, and it sparkled in the sunlight. Ducks would come by. It was very, very peaceful. As I got older, specific instances influenced me. A teacher who taught American history told the real story of what happened to the indigenous people in America. I started reading more. I was horrified. I bought moccasins so I could walk through the woods without making a sound. I was a teenager. The time I wore glasses outside walking home from school and realized that tree leaves had edges. They were also different on different trees. It changed my life's direction. My natural curiosity was totally awakened again. When I went to college to study plant science in the 1970s, it was the age of the greening of America. The first Earth Day was in 1970. The EPA was established. The Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Endangered Species Act came into being. This influenced me. It was part of my education. There was a picture of a woman in the soils textbook that I used for my soils class. And this still haunts me to this day. She was a migrant worker displaced by the Dust Bowl. She looked exhausted, she looked dirty, and she looked devoid of hope. Her plight and so many others started the Soil Conservation Service, now called the Natural Resource Conservation Service, a very important part of ecological landscaping now. An organization that's aided farmers and foresters and homeowners to reduce soil erosion, build up soils, reduce water pollution. They're a wonderful organization. I also taught the nitrogen cycle in my soils class. Someone sent me an article from New York Times showing the detrimental effects of human action on the cycle. The cycle in my book was very pretty. It just went around, and the nitrification, etc., and it goes around and around. But this one exploded. It exploded from all the inputs that we were putting in, all the carbon dioxide, all the nitrous oxide, all the cars, everything. And so it showed to me the detrimental effects of human action on the cycle and the acceleration of climate change. It changed me. Also, a friend told me she read an article about invasive plants in New Hampshire. It was about the Norway maple. And the Norway maple was brought to this country because of the salt intolerance of sugar maples and other maples. It was not a nice plant. It's never been a nice plant, but it didn't even have good fall color. And when we were looking at that, we realized when I was talking to her and we were in the woods and we were looking, we go, you know, there's no plants under this. There's no plants under this group of Norway maple. There's no, you know, and Norway maple actually has toxic substances in its roots that go out, and it kills the understory. So in 2000, the Invasive Species Committee in New Hampshire was started, which led to the list of plants and insects that were deemed invasive. And legislation was passed to control these species. I studied it extensively and all the other things I talked about and transformed my knowledge into my teaching and to the Elm Group. These instances and many others, plus my deep desire to learn, to understand, my natural curiosity, is what helped me become environmentally aware. Another famous quote, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." They think maybe Wendell Berry did it, but a lot of people did renditions of that. This congregation stewards 18 acres of biodiverse ecosystems, a home for many life forms, full of history, damaged, not broken. It is our responsibility to steward the land in a fashion that respects the past, contributes to the health and reclamation of the land, and protects it for the next generation. Please come to the second hour to see what it's all about. Thank you.
I'm Nancy Wood. I'd like to share with you a spiritual moment I experienced about a decade ago. It was a bright spring morning. I brought my kayak to a small local pond, which had a cleared area on the shore where kayaks and canoes could be put in. As I stood looking at the shallow water, I saw 20 to 30 perfect circles of clean sand. Each circle had a golden fish in the center. They had some blue on the sides and looked beautiful. All the fish were looking at me. They were facing me and looking at me. I think they were wondering if I was about to disrupt their nests of protected eggs. I began to feel a strong connection to all the life around me. We were all surviving and thriving as part of this world. To avoid disturbing them, I used the leaf-covered area next to the fish to enter the water with my kayak. The feeling of unity lasted as I came across some turtles and a kingfisher. To this day, I continue to feel that spiritual connection with the rest of the earth and the universe. Now, I'd like to change the subject to something more actionable. Someone in this congregation introduced me and the group I was in to a book. Someone else sent me a link to a video, both by Douglas Tallamy. The book is Nature's Best Hope, and it describes a nationwide national park consisting of the yards of homeowners, the lands of churches and other groups, and small parks. All of these small pieces could provide a national park's worth of ecological habitat for our native plants and animals. I also learned from Professor Talamy why native plants are better than non-natives. Not all non-native plants are invasive, just those that outcompete our native plants. Our native life, from soils to insects to birds, small mammals, and larger creatures, evolved over thousands of years along with the native plants. They know what to eat, where to rest, where to nest. Many insects look for specific species of trees and bushes, and many birds and animals depend on those insects. Birds need fat caterpillars to feed their baby birds, and invasive non-native plants do not supply sufficient food and habitat. When a green sanctuary group formed a couple of years ago, one of the subgroups wanted to focus on the ecology of the church's land. That group became ELM, the Ecological Land Management Team. I wanted to be part of that, and I have been part of ELM for these last 2 years. I have learned much from the group and can recognize several invasive species, and I'm happy to help remove them.
I'm Andy Duncan, and you're getting a lot of Elm this morning. Thanks, Dana and Nancy. Beautiful reflections. You're hearing about our personal and spiritual perspectives about why we were passionate about what we're doing with the church's Ecological Land Management Group. And I want to add my own perspective and invite you in the second hour into a conversation about our relationship and shared responsibility with the land around this church. So here we are in the sanctuary, beautiful spring day. The winds picked up a little bit, not far from the Turkey River, in the New England uplands ecoregion. All of us part of the interdependent web of all existence, a web that has shaped us, and a web that we have shaped in return. It's amazing to consider that when I was born, and I won't tell you when, the atmosphere held less than 320 parts per million carbon dioxide. Today, that concentration is over 430, a 35% increase in my lifetime. And my lifetime is just a tiny, tiny blip in the Earth's history. Sometimes I marvel at our human capabilities. We are powerful enough to alter the chemistry of the sky itself. You could say it's a measure of our industriousness. Scientists have another way of measuring our planetary influence by looking at how much of the Earth's photosynthetic energy humans now claim. Through our farms and forests, pastures, buildings, roads, and lawns, we humans now appropriate somewhere around 1/3 of all the Earth's photosynthetic productivity. I encourage you to look around and be curious. Those nearby cornfields down Langley Parkway, that's cow corn, fertilized in part by composted sewage sludge, which if you were here last week, you probably noticed the smell of that composted sewage sludge. Even the gasoline that we put in our cars, that's really just concentrated photosynthesis from sometime around 100 million years ago. In Daniel Quinn's book, Ishmael, we humans are takers. The culture that believes that the world was made for humans and humans were made to rule it. That principle runs deep in Western culture, probably deeper than most of us care to admit. Even if we in our busy everyday lives tend to relegate nature to secondary status behind humans, sometimes nature reminds us who really is in charge. Like the time I was almost swept away by a flash flood in Guatemala. One moment I felt in control. The next, I was completely at the mercy of rushing water. Or consider a quieter example, something very local. Asian bittersweet, the invasive vine that has reshaped our church grounds and woods. And what you're seeing here is a lot of red berries, and Asian bittersweet. It's basically covered a tree very near the community gardens, not far from here. Yes, it is a living plant with beautiful red berries, but the natural checks and balances from its native Asian habitat don't exist here. So it becomes a kind of botanical bully, smothering shrubs, choking tree trunks, and spreading all over. Once you start noticing bittersweet, you'll see it is everywhere. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? It's easy to get dejected, whether it's the sight of bittersweet taking over or the sobering statistic that North America has lost an estimated 3 billion birds since 1970. As the British say, we've gotten ourselves into a sticky wicket. But there is hope, and this church community dishes out ample servings of hope. Indigenous writer Robin Wall Kimmerer points out in Braiding Sweetgrass that all flourishing is mutual. She invites us to change our relationship with nature, not as something to dominate or to fear, but as a community of living beings, each offering gifts and deserving gratitude, with a caveat for misplaced nature like Asian bittersweet. Another passage from Braiding Sweetgrass speaks directly to our role with this church land. One of the responsibilities of human people is to find ways to enter into reciprocity with the more than human world. We can do it through gratitude, through ceremony, through land stewardship, through science, art, and in the everyday acts of practical reverence. And that is exactly what we will be exploring in this second hour, honing what is important for us with this land, which may be less about using it and more about being in a reciprocal relationship with this sacred place. These 18 acres are part of our spiritual home, a place to reconnect with something larger than ourselves. Now we have a chance to shape it with intention. The second hour session will start in the parlor around 11:45 after a quite short social hour. Come learn about the Earth's first ever Grounds and Forest Visionary Plan. And the Elm Group will be talking about the planning process, and we want to hear from you about what matters most with this land. Join us in person or on Zoom, and if you prefer a virtual-only option, we'll have that similar Zoom session on the evening of May 14th. And just an update for you, we were expecting ecological forester Matthias Nevins, who is working with us, to be here today, but he had a family emergency, but we are hoping that he will join us in the Zoom session on May 14th. So we look forward to seeing you, and thank you for being an amazing church where we truly do respect the interdependent web of all existence.
Thank you so much for your generous support of last week's outreach offering to support Overcomers Refugee Services. Today's community plate will support the New Hampshire Environmental Educators, which helps get youth outside and exploring in nature. The nonprofit is a professional alliance dedicated to advancing quality environmental education in New Hampshire. Yearly, over $30,000 in grants enable hundreds of youth to participate in hands-on educational field trips. And in 2024 and 2025, our own UU Friends of Refugees received grants that helped refugee kids visit the New Hampshire mountains. These grants also help New Hampshire schools and nonprofits purchase gear and transportation so children can enjoy, explore, and learn from New Hampshire's beautiful outdoors. Our morning offering will now be gratefully received. May we be transformed by our giving and by the spring in our music and the repetitions and everything else. And may the world be transformed by our gifts. Please rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, This Land is Your Land. And see the screen for revised lyrics by our own very own friend Philippi. Friend, Philippi, beautiful. Go out into the world in peace. Honor one another. Listen with an open heart. Stay curious. Have courage. Be kind. And embrace the mystery. Welcome awe. And live always the way of love. And I invite you to extinguish your chalice at home as Jim here extinguishes our chalice in our sanctuary. Please join me in reading aloud the words on our screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of this faith we share, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now, please join me in singing our unison benediction. And if you're comfortable joining hands or elbows, go ahead and reach out. And if not, reach out with your heart to all of us worshiping with you, knowing that you are not alone. Service continue.